don't want to see you in 6 months in for this. All right. And let's see here. Top of page 14, CEB 2020179, Peter and Karen Vega for possible violation of Volusia County Codices, Chapter 72, Article 2, Division 7, Section 72-2 for 1. Hotel motel were not permitted on the premises of 6901 South Atlantic Avenue. Yes, sir. Name and address for the record, please.
My name is Pete Vega. I'm 6901 South Atlantic Avenue.
Okay. Is that your mailing address?
No, it's actually my second home.
Okay. Mailing address?
Mailing address is 509 Lake Cove Point Circle, Winter Garden, Florida.
Okay. Thank you, Pete. We're waiting for Margaret. Are you here to contest the violation occurred or provide us some information?
Contest.
Okay. Very good. Margaret's going to join us and provide us the information. It's the first time we're seeing this case.
Okay, hi, Margaret Goffey, Volusia County Code Compliance. This is another one of the cases that came to our attention, I should say properties, that came to our attention. July 2nd meeting, this property was included as a transient rental. And on July 14th, staff research showed that the property was being rented to transients on Airbnb and VRBO for a 3 to 14 night minimum stay. August 6, 2020, research showed that the advertisement had been changed to read, although we have been recently informed that Volusia County is enforcing a 30-day minimum duration. We are listing this as a 30-day duration until we get legal clarification and determine if this is correct. Feel free to message us if you have any questions or are interested in a stay shorter than 30 days. On August 11th, a certified notice of violation was received, and on September 10th, the property was posted with the notice of hearing. And then this is the DBPR transient, which we had adopted 121604 from the Florida statute definition of hotel motel. And then these are copies again of the first page of the tourist development tax and the DBPR stating that you have to check with your local zoning and ordinances to make sure that it's okay. And even the TDT is ours, and it also says check local zoning to make sure that short-term rentals are allowed. And here is the advertisement here. That was the first one. And here's the Airbnb that says, although we recently have been informed that Volusia County is enforcing a 30-day minimum duration. That's the one that I got that verbiage from. And then there's pictures. That was October 2nd, that was when I took that, and then this is the front of the house. And then I've received emails from the neighbors concerning this property as well. The dates are July 20th, July 27th, September 2nd. There are reviews from May and June, and one from September. And then another advertisement from October 2nd, 2020, minimum stay 10 nights. And the Manatee Property Management, that's their DBPR license. And I've gotten from July 20th, July 27th, September 2nd, September 11th, September 18th, September 25th, October 9th, and October 16th. On 10/20, inspection shows that the house can be rented to transients for a minimum 30-night stay, but still has the caveat that states, although we have recently been informed that Volusia County is enforcing a 30-day minimum duration, we are listing this as a 30-day duration until we get legal clarification and can determine if this is correct. Feel free to message us if you have any questions or are interested in a stay shorter than 30 days. And that was the 20th of the screenshots. Because it does say 30-night minimum stay, but then he's got that little blurb in there that says to call them if you want to stay for less than 30.
On the previous slide, are you illustrating less than, well, I guess, a couple less
Well, it
than
says
30
minimum
days?
stay varies, and then if you go to click on a date, it says 30-night minimum stay.
Okay. Okay, I see that.
And it still says 10 to 30 nights. Neighbors are here. If there have been no more transient rentals, staff is recommending an order of noncompliance and dismissal. And if there have been more transient rentals, staff is recommending an order of noncompliance with a compliance date of now and a hearing to impose fine November 18th.
Would you, Mr. Vega, would you like to ask Ms. Godfrey any questions?
I would.
And then you will have that opportunity for the witnesses.
Sure, okay, thank you. Yeah, first question I have is, did you personally collect all the evidence that you presented here today?
Yes,
You did? Okay.
I believe so. No, well, it's my evidence plus the emails that were sent.
Okay. So is your answer yes or is it no?
It's both.
All right. So if it's no, how can you be sure that the evidence hasn't been altered or compromised?
They're emails. I sent them to you, you saw them.
So you're saying that any evidence that you presented today, you've collected?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so your testimony is yes, you've collected this evidence.
Most of it. I collected the web advertisements. I have collected the verbiage that you put into the web advertisements. And then the emails that were sent to me, those are the dates that I received them.
Okay, did I ask you for those emails and did you send them to me?
Yes.
No, you did not.
You asked for a public records request and I sent them to you.
No, they weren't. I did have a public record request and received nothing from the county.
Well, that's,
Let me finish. Let me move on to the next one. When the county started enforcing this zone ordinance, and when did you send out your first notice to me?
We enforced this from 12/16/04. And we were complaint driven, so when we receive a complaint, we investigate and then we mail the notices out.
So you can actually testify that you've sent notices out since 2004?
No, that's when we started enforcing it. That's not what you asked. You said, when was it starting to be enforced? 12/16/04.
So my question really, let me just be specific about my particular case. When did you send me a notice saying that I was in violation?
It was, let's see. Certified notice of violation was received on August 11th, 2020.
Okay, August 11th.
Mhm.
Thank you. Nothing further now, but I will have some during my when I present the evidence.
Okay. But your public records request has not been
It has not been.
satisfied? Do we have the emails that we could share with Mr. Vega?
They were sent to Donna Burkhardt.
Superintendent Slack for County Legal, we have numerous public records requests in the work, and I have reviewed some from Mr. Vega. I do not know the status of them.
Okay. I just wondered if we have the emails that we could share with him at this moment.
Well, let's see.
And then, is there a witness that, while Margaret's looking for that, is there a witness that would like to testify regarding a property at 6901? Come on forward, sir. This is regarding 6901 South Atlantic Avenue.
Regarding all those, I built homes next to the A-frame,
Well,
next to the house here.
Ricky, come on down.
Okay.
6901 is the item before us.
Yes, sir.
Please to the microphone.
Okay.
Name and
I
address.
got this right here too, if I could. Okay.
Is that something?
Wasn't it sent to your attorney?
He's not allowed to do that. What do you mean?
What attorney?
I wasn't allowed to.
Mr. Schrader, we do not accept Spring Slack, County Legal, we do not accept thumb drives at the date of the hearing because we can't test them for viruses or any other thing. You may testify or show any physical pictures or anything you have printed out, but you have to send anything digital ahead of time to be screened for viruses.
Okay, I'll show you what I've got printed.
That's fine. Come on over to the microphone.
I want to make sure that whatever Mr. Schrader is going to testify is going to be specific to my property and I get to cross-examine him.
You get to cross-examine him, and I have warned him that it's only for 6901.
Correct.
We'll see if this is, if I can do this then. These are all, as an example, what I have right here is 74 hotels, motels. Okay? You can see the ones highlighted in red that are here today. The ones highlighted in green have a homestead. This list has been going on since the Lagoon Beach Coalition to enforce the existing code started a few months ago. I'm not here representing them, us. I'm here representing myself.
Okay?
Excuse me,
We're not here for the homestead exemption. That would be a
No.
matter.
No.
he needs to identify himself for the record.
I'm sorry. Ricky?
Ricky Schrader, 6381 Ingram Road, New Smyrna Beach, Florida, 32169.
Thank you. So what would you like to testify about 6901?
What I'd like to testify about 6901 and all the others, okay?
Just 6901.
Okay. All right. Here's my next thing that I got from the county. Short-term rentals, okay? I'll read what this says. Property owners in unincorporated areas and municipalities who engage in short-term rentals and charge rent or receive any other form of compensation are required to remit a tourist and convention development tax and a 6.5% sales tax, okay? Rentals that are shorter than 6 months and 1 day are considered short-term rentals for the purposes of this tourist and convention development tax. Property owners also may be required to pay a tangible personal property tax on the value of these rental furnishings. Does this board have anything to do with the 6% tourist tax being
No.
collected and the 6.5%?
That's revenue.
Tourist.
That's revenue.
Okay?
Yep.
That's part of it too.
And
There's $6 million that we figured worth of revenue in the
Sir,
Boone Beach.
This is only about Mr.
Sir,
Vega.
can you
So
please?
this is part of what their 6901 is part of.
6901.
Do you have evidence that he actually has rented it short-term, this specific property? That's all I care about.
Okay, then I need to let it go. It'll be next time. But we're not gonna quit.
So thank you for your help.
understood.
I
So
went
wait,
down
wait,
there.
Oh,
Before he leaves, I have some questions since he
Good.
testified.
Okay, Mr.
You
Ray.
asked me those questions.
Good, go step up to them.
I'm right here.
Okay. First of all, have you and I ever met?
No.
Have you met my family? Do you know
No.
anything about me? Okay. How far
Let me
away?
tell you
Wait,
about
wait, hold on.
family.
Let me-
How
let me-
about love your neighbors, you love yourself? It's greed.
That's a good
It's
analogy.
greed.
That's a
That's
good
what our
analogy.
problem is here.
That's a good analogy. Love thy neighbor.
Yeah.
So let me finish my questions, Mr.
Finish
Shea.
it.
Okay.
How about abide by
No,
the
no,
law?
listen,
Breaking
just
the
listen.
law.
Let me
Hey,
finish the
Ricky, this
question.
is only about Mr.
Okay.
Vega's
Ricky,
property.
just answer his questions.
Mr. Schrader, how far away do you live from my property?
6381 Ingram Road. You're at the 6900, I'd say 6 blocks.
See, that's incorrect. You're on Ingram Road, I'm on Atlantic Avenue. Do you know the color of my house?
No.
You don't. Do you have to drive by my house to go to, let's say, a store, a grocery store?
Projects. I probably built homes all around it.
No, I'm asking a specific question. Do you drive by my house to go to a store?
No.
No, okay. Can you see my house from your house?
No.
Okay. Can you hear my house if I had a party or a gathering?
No.
Okay. Then let me ask you why you're here to testify about my particular house.
Why? I'll tell you why. I'm 66 years old. I've been going to this Boone Beach since I've been in my 20s. I built my first home down there 34 years
So
ago.
I'm asking
As a
about my
builder,
house.
I'm talking now.
Mr. Vega,
It's
just
my
answer
turn.
your question.
It's my turn. You know, I've had over this people putting bullets on the front of my house, the hate, and I don't care. There's 100 of you. And you're selfish and you're greedy. The reason people are here, I know people have lived there 10 years, 40 years. It's not hotels, 50 by 100 lots, 75 by 100 lots. They don't want to live on hotels. And all this is greed.
Well, I appreciate
And then
your
you come
opinion.
here and you lie. I got this gentleman goes on site that I built his home on Google, House, Facebook, and what a terrible home, the insulation. I never built the man's home. That's the hate.
Ricky, let's stay to the issue.
That's the hate. Well, here's my question for you.
Wait a second, I'm asking
Here's
the
my
question.
question for
I'm
you.
asking the question.
You advertise online to rent your home to make your greedy money, and then you can come here and lie, all of you, that it's for your family?
So we appreciate your
I
opinion.
mean, that ain't opinion.
Is this based on evidence?
Hey,
Yes, sorry.
Ricky?
I have one
we
final
haven't-
question.
We
Ask
actually,
me that final question.
Ricky, we haven't heard from Mr. Vega, so you must be talking of somebody else who talked about their family.
Now, I'm
We haven't heard from
tired of
Mr.
the
Vega
lies.
yet.
Correct.
Tired of the lies, I'm tired of the cheating, I'm tired of stealing. And the county, there's been $750,000 each year lost in revenue from tourist tax and sales tax because this hasn't been enforced.
Ricky, we
People
understand.
have had enough. We're not living next to hotels and we're not quitting. And the higher you go, the bigger we're going to go, and you're going to end up paying big time. And I do mean big time.
Ricky, you're.
Ricky, we
You're
under-
damn crooks.
Ricky, we understand you're very passionate about this.
Yes.
Um,
My home.
Absolutely, it's our
Our home.
it's our
You should
county.
see the emails.
Mr. Vega, just,
Ricky,
There's close
have,
to 500 people involved in this.
Ricky, please have a seat.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Can I ask?
Mr.
Yeah,
Vega.
ask me anything you want.
I was gonna,
the questions so far that you've been asking are
And
immaterial
you're a lying son of a bitch
to,
too.
you know,
Ricky.
recognize that this board can listen to evidence. It doesn't have to meet the criteria of necessarily. We can decide whether we want to, what's pertinent and what's not pertinent. This is not strictly,
So far, though, my questions have been about my property, my house. asked
I
about
understand,
where I live
but to
from my
be-
house, and so he ranted about his opinion. I mean,
But to be
there might be
honest-
some mental illness here that we need to talk about and address. And the guy
to
is
be,
carried on.
Mr. Vega, to be honest with you, the color of your house, the sound doesn't make any difference. There is an ordinance, and it's either you've met the ordinance or you didn't meet the ordinance. And we also recognize that before you were noticed, you may have had a situation, and if you've cured that, then we need to know that. Other than that, we don't care whether people have gone past it to get to a grocery store or anything else. We're really running out of time.
Sir, but I find that should be evident, and it should be, because there's a man up here testifying about my property that he doesn't drive by, he doesn't live by, he can't hear anything from, he has no idea what happens and what occurs at my property.
We have the
But he's here
ability,
testifying.
we have the ability to disregard certain testimony and not disregard other testimony. So give us a little bit of,
Well, again, I'm just asking the questions.
And sir, that's also why I stopped him from going.
Thank you.
Okay. So our question now is,
Well, we haven't heard from Mr. Vega.
right, okay, and that's what it is moving forward, what is your,
So the first thing I'd like to do is, I actually have a PowerPoint as well that hopefully we can project up. And really what I've done is I've taken Margaret's PowerPoint that she sent to me, and I'm going to run through it, and really what we've seen that Margaret's provided is what they call prima facie evidence. Basically, it's very basic evidence, but if you really look at the details of what it says, there's no non-compliance. I'm in compliant with the county ordinance of 30 days of rental. And I can show you with my evidence that I am. I'm actually here contesting two things. One is that the county is defined, in the definition, a short-term rental is being, or I'm sorry, that I am right now running a hotel or a motel. I have a private residence. I don't have a hotel or motel. And if you look at the definition of a hotel motel, it's very different than what the county's definition of a hotel motel. So I'll go through that as well. But then the second thing is, I'm going to go through the evidence that Margaret has provided, and we're going to look at it and look at a little more detail to see if it's actually correct or true. But in the end, I am in compliance, and I'm going to show you that today.
okay, sir, I have a quick question for you.
Sure.
So I go to VRBO, you have a great case in saying that you have advertised that is a 30-day rental.
Correct.
What if I text you or email you or I message you per your request and you say a short-term rental is an option? What is that answer?
Yeah, the answer is, and I'm going to go into that.
No, I'm a potential client. What would you tell me?
I'm going to stay in compliant with the county and be able to offer what the county allows me to offer.
So a 30-day rental?
Well, let's examine that a little further, because the way
We're
the
not
county
here to examine that further. We're not, if we're gonna find you in a non-compliance or compliance based on our statute, which is saying that it is a 30-day minimum stay. And that's the only thing this board here can do. So if you're saying that you're gonna short-term rent below 30 days moving forward, or that you have in the past, that's all we're here to say. If you want to go above that after today's hearing, that's your prerogative, and I applaud you for doing it. But this is what we're here to discuss today, and we're going to go above and beyond to try to hear you out. But there's a time limit that we got to try to.
Correct. Okay. So
Excuse me, Mr. Vega. Mr. Chairman, Sabrina Slack, County Legal. I wanted to clarify something for the record before we move forward. Ms. Godfrey earlier said that the definition of hotel motel comes from the statute, and the board member also said the statute. That's not correct. The statute, hotel motel, has a different definition than our ordinance. Our ordinance has a hotel motel definition that is for a use. The hotel motel statute is very different. It's not the same, and the same do not apply. So you have to keep that separate. That hotel motel defined by the statute is not the same as a hotel motel use as defined by our ordinance.
Sorry.
So people have been using the word statute, I just want to make sure the record's clear. We're talking about our ordinance definition, not the statute.
And that
Thank
was
you.
my misspoken, I apologize, I did mean ordinance.
That's fine. And Mr. Hall, I'm going to answer your question right now. If you look at your screen, this is actually comments from July 15th hearing, and it's from Mr. Wagenfelter. And I'm going to read them directly, and then we can actually listen to them. So what Mr. Langenfelter said on the July 15th hearing is, what I'm getting at, in our code it says 30-day rental. But what it means is someone can rent it for 5 days, and then somebody can rent it on the 6th day to somebody else. They don't have to stay for 30 days, but they can come in, they just can't come in and go for less than 30 days. Do you know what I mean? And let's see if we can actually hear the I don't know if we're going to be able to hear the actual audio.
They won't, they've got to be muted, I think.
Is there a way to unmute him so that he can hear that?
You will not be able to play the audio because that's embedded in the PowerPoint presentation. We can only see the PowerPoint presentation.
I can play the
Now-
audio. I'll play it a different way.
So, I'd like to
And for the
hear
record, I would
audio.
request that you play the entire 15th audio, putting it in context of the discussion, not taking it out of context.
I mean, it'll take
I
2
believe,
hours.
yeah, I believe Russ Brown somewhat, well, was this just this past July?
This was just this past July.
Because I remember another time I said it, Russ Brown somewhat reprimanded me for it, but we're just,
So again, going based on your actual testimony, or what you said, to answer that question is, again, I'm staying in compliance. I've been in compliance from the very beginning. And if somebody comes to me and says they want to rent it for, let's say, 10 days, and my family wants to use it for 20 days, according to what you're saying is, I'm in compliance because I've got a block of 30 days that the property is being used and corrected. And again, that's what you
right,
said.
I don't deny that I said that.
Chairman, again,
In
if I
in
can
that
clarify,
time-
the board does not testify at all.
Okay, so
The
you weren't
board
under oath when you said it, but-
only discusses, they do not testify, and they do not make a law outside of their orders.
In the
So if
con-
it's not in an order, and it's obviously not testimony because he's a board member, it is not what you're representing it to be.
In the context is, this is a test that I apply because people say, well, they didn't rent it for a full 30 days. Well, you don't have to, it doesn't say you have to.
It does say you have to rent it for 30 days.
It's duration. No. It doesn't, you don't have to be in the house for 30 days. You just have to have a 30-day block where somebody else didn't come in on that 30-day block.
Correct.
No.
That's just my test.
That's-
And I'm sure I said this is something of the sort. This is the only test I apply. I'm not the one gathering evidence, I'm the one hearing evidence.
Right.
But when I'm hearing it, you know, it's up to staff to correct me, and Russ Brown did, that no, I'm not looking at it correctly, but what I'm looking at, were there more rentals in 3 months? Were there more than 3 rentals in 3 months? Just to give you a sense of how often is something happening.
And Mr. Chairman, to again clarify, the definition clearly says that it's for a period of 30 days. It's a durational definition. It's not a frequency definition. It's not once per month. It is 30-day rental or monthly rental, not frequency, duration.
So I'm still in compliance. I'm renting it and offering it for 30 days. But now that you've clarified that, I know if somebody were to contact me in the future and want to rent it for 10 days, and I was planning to stay in it for 20 days, that you're stating that that's not compliant, correct? Okay, then I'm still in compliance. I'd like to go ahead and go through my evidence if I could. All right, again, the first slide, if you go to the I made the mistake. No, we'll stay on that slide. That's fine. So I did talk about prima facie evidence that when you really start going through this. So what I did was I went and took Margaret's PowerPoint and I commented in red. So those are my comments. So the very first thing that she says is that it's a hotel motel, we're not permitted. And I'm saying I don't own a hotel or a motel. I own a primary residence. All right. If you go down to the next thing, she's saying that she's researched and shows that the property was being rented. I haven't seen any evidence that shows that the property is being rented. What she's saying is that there is evidence that the property is being advertised. It doesn't say that it's being rented, it's being advertised. And the advertisement says that it's 30 days or more in order to be able to rent the property. If you go to the next one, the 8.6, I clearly say in the advertisement that I'm renting for 30 days. I say, although we have recently been informed by Volusia County is enforcing a 30-day minimum duration, we are listing this property for a duration of 30 days until we get legal clarification and determine if this is correct. Right there, I'm in compliance.
You just said feel free to message us.
Please continue the next line.
Yeah,
And this
I
is
will.
my question.
Yep, and so the next line is, if you have any questions or are interested in a stay shorter than 30 days, contact us.
So please elaborate on what is interested in shorter stays.
If you're interested in shorter stays, please contact us. Maybe I have another property at another location that I can offer. But they can't go on and book this property for less than 30 days because they have to go in and put in their dates and request 30 days. And we've been renting this property for 30 days. It's amazing how many people from Orlando come, book the property, they come over and stay 3 or 4 nights, then they leave for a couple days, go back home, then they come back over to the beach 3 or 4 nights, they bring their friends, they bring their family. We book it for 30 nights. Right, next. So this was an interesting slide, and I thought it was interesting. We agree that you need a business license and you need to pay the county taxes for short-term rentals. But I have to ask the question, hold on here for a second. You're stating that I'm not allowed to operate a transient rental, but are requiring me to register, get a business license, and you're asking me to collect taxes that I have to submit to Volusia County, and you're claiming that what I'm doing is an illegal hotel. That doesn't make sense.
I'm asking you to do anything to get taxes.
No.
Yeah.
It's right on the first page of the application.
No, let's go through it, because I have
Who
the
are the
application right
Okay.
here, the very next one. Let's go to the next one. Here's Chad's comments. I actually, before I went in there, I kind of went in the same order that Margaret went. She talks about the county definition. Now, I looked up these definitions, and I've only found this definition in the county. I went to the state of Florida. That's not the definition of transient or hotel motel. I went to the dictionary. It's not the definition of hotel motel. The state law says that a municipality cannot regulate duration or frequency of a rental passed in 2010. Now, we're talking about a zoning ordinance that you guys are talking about here. You're not talking about, so you're saying that the zoning ordinance does not permit a hotel or motel, but my property wasn't built as a hotel motel.
And that's why it can't be used as one.
And it's
The
not.
ordinance
Listen,
predates the state law.
It's 2004.
That's an ordinance saying a hotel motel. I don't have a hotel.
Or use were not permitted.
Let me finish. Let's go to the next definition. So let's go to the legal definition of a hotel motel. The hotel, and this came right from dictionary.com, it says a hotel is a commercial establishment offering lodging to travelers and sometimes to permanent residents, often having restaurants, meeting rooms, stores, which may be used by the general public. That's dictionary.com. The one from Merriam-Webster says, hotel is an establishment that provides lodging and is usually meals, entertainment, and various personal services for the public. Neither one of those apply to my property. Let's go to the next one, please. I also want to point out the definition of property rights. Property rights is defined as the legal ownership of resources and how they can be used. These resources can be both tangible and intangible, and they can be owned by individuals, businesses, and governments. Property rights gives the owner or right holder the ability to do with the property what they choose. That includes holding it, selling it, or renting it out for profit, or transferring it. By me being here today, this is a violation of my property rights, and I just want to go on record saying that. Let's go to the next one, please. So this is what Margaret posted as the application for tax. Interesting, maybe I should ask Margaret the question, do you know how long this application has been part of Volusia County's request for taxes?
I'm sure it's been here a while.
Okay.
However, on that page, it does state you need to check with the local zoning to make sure it's okay in your zoning area.
Thank you. Let me go to the next
Did you check?
application. I did, and I'm going to show you exactly what I checked. Go to the next one, please. This is the actual application I filled out in early 2017. Hold on a second.
It's just getting slow here, hold on.
Now this is going to be, is there a way to blow that up?
I'm trying.
So I actually pulled my actual application. This is my application that I presented to the county, or that I filled out in the county. And what that says in the application doesn't say anything about check your local ordinance. It doesn't say anything about a duration or a period of time. It says nothing about that. Here's what it does say. It says collecting tourist and convention development tax on short-term rentals of living and sleeping accommodations. Short-term rentals. Renting, leasing, letting, or granting licenses to others to use living or sleeping accommodations for a period of 6 months or less. Has nothing about 30 days or less. It says 6 months or less. That's right on the application that I filled out in early 2017 to be compliant with the county. Let's go to the next one, please. Now here's a, and I'm hoping you can see this a little better. I might have to come up here. All right, so in this ad that Margaret claims that she collected, it says a minimum stay of 3 to 14 nights.
How long have I looked for?
What's that?
14 days.
Okay, so you put in the booking dates of September 20. Do you know when you collected this?
When I collected
When
this,
did you collect this evidence?
back when I sent you the notice of violation.
And you're sure you collected this evidence?
Yep.
Because here's what's interesting about this. If you'll blow it up, the blurb about me being notified by the county is not there.
No, you said you were just made aware. You did not say you were notified. You said you were made aware.
That's correct. That's even a better point. I actually put that blurb in before the July 15th hearing. So that means you collected this before, but you didn't send a notice until August
July
11th.
15th hearing.
The July 15th hearing that I got the audio from Mr. Lagenfelter. Let's go to the next one, because I want to show you some inconsistencies of the evidence that's been presented here today. So the next one now shows that the blurb that I put in to show that I am in compliant, and I'm got this set up for 30 days. Now there's no date on this either, which I find interesting. There's no date on when this was collected. Let's go to the next one. This one is really telling to me. So this is the evidence that Margaret collected. If you notice in the circle, it actually has a price of pounds, like European pounds. It also has a date of, if you'll scroll down a little bit, a date of December 20th through December 30th is when the dates that's being requested. Now here's what's really great about this particular ad. If you go all the way up, all the way down, you'll see that the date on this was actually October 2nd is when this was collected, according to Margaret. So I have a question really for Margaret. How are you collecting evidence that shows a pound? Are you going to a foreign website?
No, that's VRBO. Look at the numbers, same numbers, VRBO.
Okay, so it's VRBO, but it's VRBO HomeAway UK. How can you collect?
HomeAway and VRBO are the same company.
That's correct.
And it's advertised all over.
So you
It's
can
international.
So it's international. How do you go to a UK website and collect evidence?
Because it's there. Why not? It's there. And it's also there on the American website.
All right, so your testimony is you collected this evidence from VRBO UK.
Yep.
Okay. Let's go to the next one. Here's what's great. This property, I actually booked this property on October 1st, 2020, to a lady named Kristen. She arrives December 5th, and you'll see when she departs. This was before you collected this evidence. January 4th. It's 30 nights. So she booked this property on October 1st, and you're claiming that the property was available on October 2nd? Can't happen.
You put it in as December 5th, so on October 2nd it was available.
So on October 2nd is when you said you collected this evidence.
Right.
It was booked on October 1st, and you're saying that you asked for dates of December 20th
Yeah.
through
It came up
December
available.
25th.
Came up available. I don't
So
know when you put
explain
yours
that.
in.
Explain how that
You
can
talk to
be.
them. That's not me. You go talk to them. them, I just put it in and it showed up. You can talk to your VRBO people.
So, again, your testimony is that VRBO controls this. I don't control it and you don't control it.
I put the dates in. Good luck, you're available. What do you want me to do? That's VRBO, not me, not you, well, you say it's not you, not me. If I can put the dates in for a week, 2 days, 1 night, I can put it in.
You can, but it's not available. You-
Booking sources.
Yeah,
So they are, but you do understand that the calendars are linked. So if somebody...
I don't.
No.
Okay, so let me explain that. So I actually have it advertised on 2 different sites,
Mhm.
Airbnb and VRBO.
Okay.
If you put in a date for a month on Airbnb, it automatically blocks the same dates on the calendar, so you don't have double bookings.
Okay.
So the thing that's real telling about this evidence, and I really hope that you guys can question this and understand that the property was booked for a month from December 5th to January 4th. And it's Margaret's testimony that 1, she's collected all this evidence herself, and 2, on October 2nd, now we haven't been able to see dates yet, but on October 2nd, she's claiming that she is putting dates and saying that I'm in violation when the property was already booked and was already being held and the calendar was blocked.
and then it wasn't blocked, you'll have to talk to them.
Apparently, homeaway.com and homeaway.co.uk aren't linked.
Or with Airbnb.
Possibly. I
They
don't
will
know.
be.
Well, they have to be, because that would mean that somebody in UK could book the same property at the same time.
You're on
as-
Airbnb,
That's right.
not
So-
VRBO.
so- Yeah, but I'm saying to you, when I book this property on Airbnb, it automatically links and blocks the calendar for VRBO.
No.
So it does.
Obviously.
No, obviously it does. I think unfortunately, the gathering of this evidence is just flawed. You're
So where-
gathering evidence that's flawed.
So, Mr. Vega, your testimony is that you have not rented 6901 for less than 30 days.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So I received a notice, and I received a notice about the violation she just testified August 11th. I changed it, I'm going to say that I changed it before July 15th when I found out that there was some sort of an issue. I'm also going to say,
Microphone.
no, what I am going to say is I heard earlier just in this hearing that, and I can make sure I get it right. Just earlier, when there was a gentleman here about the excavation, somebody said on the council that if a violation is not identified, then it is not a violation. So basically, what you said was that if somebody doesn't have a violation prior to being notified, then it's not considered a violation. It's exactly what you said just a little while ago.
That was regarding a building where I had asked, is it a violation when they created it, or was it a violation when we found it in non-compliance? And I was corrected.
Correct.
It's when it's found in non-compliance.
So my property has not been found non-compliance. The first time Margaret notified me of a non-compliance, is what she claimed was non-compliance, was October 11th, is what she just said a minute ago.
Right. When I read the cases, I say a possible violation of this order, it's being considered by us if it was in compliance or not.
So it is in compliance, and it's been in compliance.
Okay. I understand your testimony.
Actually, I think you're confusing the difference between notice and a finding of violation. You've never been found in violation because it won't be done until this board decides you're in violation.
Correct. So I was not notified until any kind of a violation until August 11th. But it's also interesting, and I've got some evidence to show that on August 11th, I had a guest there for 30 nights. So again, I'm still waiting to see evidence that shows that I've not been renting this for less than 30 nights. So far, I've seen nothing.
Did you see my recommendation?
Yeah, I saw your recommendation, and I actually,
Okay. It
yeah.
said order of non-compliance, order of dismissal. However, if they can testify and prove that you have had rentals in there, then it's going to be something different.
So can you pull up, on the evidence list, pull up evidence number 12. Okay, this is an ad from Airbnb with a guest that's asking to rent the property for 30 days, July 31st to August 31st. If you'll pull up number 11.
We don't have access to your responses.
Maggie's referring to his audiovisual person.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, but we don't have access to that on Airbnb.
that's correct. We don't. That's why you're getting to see it now.
Sorry, which one?
Number 11. So this is actually a correspondent from the guest that booked the property. They live in Longwood, Florida, and they stayed for the month from July 31st to August 31st. If you scroll down, you'll actually see the guy's signature on it. I made sure that he wrote it out. Now, I received a non-compliance notice from Margaret on, you just testified, August.
You signed that on August 17th?
Yeah, I had him sign it on August 17th, when I received a notice from you that I was non-compliant on a violation of 16th. And I'm still asking the question, what evidence do you have that shows that I'm not renting this out for less than 30 days?
Your word. You said yourself, if we want to rent it for less than 30, give us a call.
I didn't say that. I said if you're interested in renting it, call us.
Well, we're going around in circles. Let's see if we can get back to the point. Today, you gotta make the point, please.
So, yeah, if you'd like, I can go ahead and wrap this up. If you want to just go straight down to the conclusion. So in the end, the county has the burden of proof. And they clearly have presented only evidence based on assumptions and questionable evidence, no credible facts. I've shown that the ad for the list for the rental is a minimum of 30 days, which is in compliance. I've met all the requirements by the county to operate a vacation rental. To be clear, I am able to rent this, again, I'm going by Mr. Lingenfelter's, I'm able to rent this for 30 days, less than 30 days, as long as there is a 30-day window before the next renter, which keeps me in compliance. Example, if I use it for 10 days, the renter comes in for 10 days, and I use it 10 days afterwards. Again, according to your testimony, or according to your instructions, that's what they said.
And legal correct.
That's correct. Okay, so now that it's legally corrected, I'm still here saying that I have not done that,
Okay.
but I'm showing that that's an option for me, and that's why I put that, okay, you're saying it's not.
That's my test.
Okay, well, you're saying it's not, so then I'll remove the last part that it seems like you have a problem with, which is if you want to rent less for 30 days, call me.
If you did that, that would be my suggestion. Because then, and then, to me, I would feel comfortable saying that you were in non-compliance and I would dismiss it. That would be my suggestion. But that's just me as
Okay.
Andrew Hall.
So I'm going to go ahead and take your suggestion and remove that last little bit, but I'm also going to say that I have not been in, you can't say that I'm in non-compliance because I have been in compliance.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
Mr. Vega, let me ask you a couple of questions, and that is, first of all, I noticed in here in your conclusions that you're not using the Volusia County ordinance with regard to definitions. That's what we have to go by. We go by the Volusia County ordinance, regardless of what's in the state or anything else. The second thing is, you made a comment that said, or seemed to say, that you didn't feel that you were in violation before August because you hadn't received a notice.
Now, let me clear that up. I did not think that there was any code enforcement violations or any ordinances in place because in 2016, when I bought the house, the realtor that I bought the house from made it very clear that we were able to do short-term rentals in this area, number one. Number two, I contacted the county and confirmed that I was able to do short-term rentals. I applied for a tax account, which was granted. Let me finish. Let me finish. I received an application. I filled out the application. I was given an account number, and since May of 2017, I had been paying every single month the county tax. I'd go on to Volusia County records and pay the county tax. And in that application, it was very clear that a short-term rental was anything less than 6 months. So up until the point of finding out, and I didn't hear from Margaret that this was not allowed, I heard from another homeowner that was here on July 15th, and I immediately changed it to, in the ad, showing that it was more than 30 days.
And we appreciate the fact that you responded as quickly as you did. I'm not sure that that means that even, that means that you wouldn't be in violation before that you received the notice. I mean, it's on the books. I guess it's like speeding, going through a speeding, you know, with a policeman, when you get a speeding ticket and you say, well, gee, I didn't, you know, until I just saw the sign, I didn't know what the speed limit was.
No, I would actually say that it would be more like, unless you have evidence that shows that I have rented it for less than 30 days, I'm in compliance. And right now, I haven't seen any evidence that shows that I'm renting it for less than 30 days.
Okay, let me ask it differently then. In 2019, did you rent it for less than 30 days?
I'm not going to answer that question.
And what was your understanding of short-term rental from the realtor or from zoning?
So my understanding is that there was no ordinance in place, and I still have yet to see an ordinance in place that that did not allow short-term rentals. What I've seen is an ordinance, a zoning ordinance, that says you're not able to operate a hotel or a motel. And so that's something that needs to be challenged.
Right, but my question is, when a realtor told you you could rent a short-term, what did you understand short-term meant?
Short-term is short-term, anything under 6
days.
months. And I went to the county, and that's what the county defined as short-term.
So even 2 days?
Anything under 6 months is what the county defined as short-term.
Okay.
If you're
I'm just trying to understand what you're
probably ought to
understanding.
go back to the realtor that gave you that bad information.
Well, I don't know that the realtor gave me bad information. What I know
If the realtor
is,
told you that you could rent in your zoning, with your house in the zoning that it's in, if they told you that you could, by law, rent for less than 30 days, they were wrong.
okay, and they did, but also the county followed up by requiring me to get a business license, and they've required me to have an account where I paid taxes on short-term rentals, and the county defined a short-term rental as any rental under 6 months, and I've complied with that all the way up until today.
I'm ready for a motion.
Well, I'm just gonna put it out there, does anybody have evidence that this property was rented for less than 30 days?
Margaret, can you bring up your first?
These are reviews from July, September, May, and June.
But it's not saying that it was rented for shorter.
They have the dates that were
Correct.
posted.
Well, June and June.
The date of the review.
But is that the date of the review, or is that the date that somebody stayed?
And I'll attest that I have actually reviewed somebody a month after, or whatever. That to me isn't enough, but that's just me as Andrew
What
Hall.
does the stay date say?
Can you go back to your first?
What does the stay date say?
It doesn't.
They don't.
My first slide?
Yeah, not their first slide, the first time you tried to,
It just says the date of review.
the one where before he put the caveat. Your first time you tried, I think it's right there, I think it's this one. So right there, you have it before, so September 26th to October 3rd was available. So right there, that to me is enough evidence to say that you are in non-compliance.
So my
If you're
question-
asking Chad.
When was this evidence taken, and did Margaret actually collect this evidence? And I want to remind you, Margaret, you're under oath.
Well,
It was taken by me, and it was probably before the end of September.
So again, it's not whether it's before your notice was given to you, because again, she's gonna do her due diligence, that get a complaint, do something like this, and then say, oh yeah, he is doing something to warrant that complaint, here is his notice. So, and I understand where you're getting at, that as soon as you got your notice, you said, man, this sucks, I'm doing something, I'm gonna change it. But it's cool. Right now, this is enough for me to make a motion. And if anybody else has any questions, or if they're ready for a motion.
I just have one more thing to say on this, though, that it does say here that it's a minimum of 3 to 14 nights, which indicates that there's a minimum and a maximum. And in VRBO, they don't allow you to put a maximum. There's only a minimum date. So again, this evidence is flawed. You heard earlier the testimony from Margaret that she couldn't explain why she had evidence from the UK. She couldn't explain
You can
why.
change it
Let me
to
finish,
minimum
please.
stay 30
You keep
nights.
interrupting me, please let me finish.
Oh, sure.
She has no way to show when this evidence was taken. She doesn't have anything to show that, and she just said that VRBO, it's up to them. So
No,
again,
I did not say that.
I have no control over
I
what
did not say that.
Okay, Mr. Vega,
I've got one
is
more
that
question.
an accurate, is that a display of your property? If you go back to that slide we were just at,
That's October 20th.
that Andrew pointed to, is your VRBO number, one more, 4274983?
It is, but we do not offer it for a minimum of 3 to
Okay.
14 nights.
But is this an accurate representation of your page at any time?
Prior to July, this would have been an accurate, but again, I know that there's some flaws in this because we do not offer this for a minimum of 3 to 14 nights.
Okay, I hear you. So prior to receiving a notice of violation, this is what your page looked like. You saw the notice violation, you added narrative. Is what I understand you telling us.
I'm saying that I have and still have an ad up, and that ad is for more than 30 days.
Okay. But I'm just trying to understand.
One of the other alternatives we can do is continue this until the next meeting and let the county have an opportunity to look at the revenue records for 2019, if those are
They
available.
won't let us.
We can't look at the revenue records, they're confidential. And again, what revenue does is a completely separate thing than what we do. Their definition has to do with other tax regulations. The code is clear, it's 30 days of duration
I
or
understand
more.
that, but
And it really creates a window. Theirs is 6 months, ours is 30 days, so there's a window there. They're not in, they don't contradict each other. They work together.
I was just thinking
Let's get a motion.
that
I think
if
we're ready
in
for a motion.
2019, if he had short-term rental and was paying the taxes and all of that, whether or not the county could get the information that says, this month